I think I broke it now. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to C3 Parenting. I'm your host, Karien Pitout, and today we are going to talk about parenting body autonomy. Welcome. Is your first time here? Say hi in the chat. Say hi to me. Let me know that you're here. I'm super excited. So, what is the C3 parenting philosophy? Please, raising conscious, connected, creative kids that can problem solve, kids that is consciously aware, not just about their own and they're self-aware, but aware of the world and society at large, know how to problem solve and how to step into difficult conversations and really help better the world out there, and then connected, the ability to create healthy, lasting emotional relationships with people and with you as the parent. So that is our philosophy. Kids are whole human beings and they're on this journey, and we are the coaches. So we parent from ourselves first and then we parent the kid. Now that is our standard philosophy. When I'm just going to switch off the slide now. That is our standard philosophy, and that is how we look at things. Alright, so what is body autonomy? Welcome if you just joined us. It's great to see you. What is body autonomy? The Merriam-Webster definition for body, or for autonomy, for the word autonomy, means it's the quality of state of being, self-governing, especially the right to self-govern. Right? So it's about the right to self-govern. And then the self-directing freedom, and especially moral independence. That is a personal autonomy. So when we talk about body autonomy, we look at the ability of a child or a person to govern themselves, to be able to give permission or to withhold permission, to be able to do what they need to do as they grow older and as they get along in time. Autonomy, being able to manage our own bodies, being able to regulate our own bodies, being able to make decisions for our bodies, have a deep impact on how we parent and how our kids experience us as parents. And that is why during this whole journey that we're going to look at the body autonomy, I want you to keep in mind and keep on reflecting back to, what does self-governing look like? What does self-governing look like for myself and then for my child, and where am I overstepping on those boundaries? Because it really, the deep impact that it has on us as parents is quite significant, and it has a deep impact on our kids as well. How does it look when we parent? It literally, as you can see in the slide on the screen, if you can't see the slides, please let me know. I would greatly appreciate that. All right, so basically, how does it impact our parenting? Permission, denial, or giving them choices. Asking our children permission to touch them, to hug them, to kiss them, to change their diaper. And I know this one, usually people roll their eyes like, how can a baby or infant give me permission to still no slides. We're going to retry this whole thing, guys. This is officially my first ever live feed on YouTube, and it's like new programs and everything. It's definitely not as easy as the Facebook Live. I usually prefer the Facebook Live. Hopefully, let me know. Yay, you can see the slides. Okay, what do you think of the t-shirts and the hoodies? I think they're beautiful. It was quite interesting when I made them. I had this brain moment 2 nights ago, like, I want to make I want to make this merch, and I sat yesterday drawing it, sourcing it, and all of that. Hence the pre-orders, because obviously I don't have stock at the moment, so we'll do the pre-orders. So yay! Right. We have spoken about the philosophy. So I hope, hey, we've got another person here. Hello, say hello. You probably either just joined us now with all the chaos that we've had. I had a beautiful misjudgment of how the program worked, and I struggled to get everything going. So, yay, welcome. Please say hello. Let me know that you're here. Right, so the C3 parenting philosophy, conscious, creative, connected parenting, to raise people as consciously creative and connected with the world around them. So what is body autonomy? The Merriam-Webster basically defines autonomy as the quality of state of being governing, especially the right to self-govern, and that is what body autonomy is, the ability to govern themselves and to make decisions for themselves. I'm just recapping, sorry Bernie, I'm recapping what I've said before, just so that whomever joined actually can get the right information. All right, so and it's about helping our children actually have a say over their body, and accepting that our children are whole human beings and have a say over their body, how they like to be touched and whether they like to be tickled and all of that. So how does this impact our parenting? So permission denial with choices, stop or no, clothing, hair, piercings, circumcision, family, friends. Now it starts all over again. You see. Okay. Alright, I figured out one. Anyway, so you're going to see that size again. Right, so how does this whole thing impact letting our kids say when they decide to choose, or they have the choice? If my 4-year-old or 5-year-old or even 2-year-old, if your 2-year-old wants to get dressed in the middle of summer, dressed in long sleeves and all of that, yes, we are afraid that they will overheat, but it depends on how we handle the situation, whether we actually give them space to get, be able to give permission, or how they want to handle that permission. So when we are giving them space to overdress and say to them, okay, it's your body, it's your choice, they can actually then wear clothes under it, that when they're hot they can remove the warm clothing. It is they can feel when they're hot and when they're cold. If you look back and when you were a child, how annoying was it when your mom gets cold, you need to put on a jacket but you don't feel the temperature yet? And because we want that autonomy, because we want to have that ability to choose and decide what we want to do for ourselves, and we want that as an innate nature of who we are as human beings, giving that space for our kids is one of the defining things that you can give your children. So when we talk about when we talk about the yes and the no and the choices, we need to understand that in the end of the day, as much as we would like to take control, give our children, basically take control over what's going on with our kids, we need to understand that because they're whole human beings, their whole identity and their understanding of how relationships work, how does permission work, how does physical contact work, plays a significant role. And I've said earlier that we give permission or we deny them, or they give permission and they deny us. And when we talk about diaper changing, just the simple thing of lifting up your hands and saying, can I change your diaper? Whether the baby can say yes or no, let them get used to, before they're being touched, someone is asking them permission, someone is accepting their humanity and the importance for them to be able to say yes or no. Yes, does it happen then when they're 2 years old and they don't want to take off their diaper? It's a bit of a disagreement regarding that. They can come fights, but the important thing is always ask permission. Can I have a hug? Can I give you a hug? Can I give you a kiss? Can I tickle you? This is one thing. It looks like the slides are now just going to keep on running. It's so often we see that our we've got family members that pictures up, and they insist, no, they want to be able to tickle the kid. And even if the kid says no, they carry on and they carry on and they carry on, and they keep on tickling, and they keep on like just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And that kid gets frustrated and at a stage starts crying, or starts punching, or starts biting back or fighting back, because their no's are being ignored. When we talk about stop or no, that is when we are looking at the significance of the difference between the words. If I say no, I can use it in a joke, like, oh, no, don't do this, as a joke, like I'm part of the game, I'm part of the, we're having fun. Or I can say no. But for a younger child, it is extremely difficult to differentiate in between the two. So when we are looking at the no or the stop, we are looking at the ability to have control over what is happening to your own body. So everybody stops most people stop at a stop street. A red light means stop. Most people stop at the traffic light. They stop at the stop street. So the word stop is recommended when we're talking about body autonomy and teaching our children the safety of their body, to instead of when we try to educate them about, when we don't want them to do something, instead of saying no, because that word can, be changed depending on the situation. But the word stop doesn't change depending on the situation. We teach them the word stop. It keeps them safe, because then they learn the power of stop. And one of the games that you can play with an infant or with a child is specifically the tickle game, where you go and you tickle them, and they have the opportunity to say stop, and then you put your hands up and say, okay, I'm stopping, until they invite you in to tickle again, and then you tickle until they say stop, and then you stop. So they can learn the power of that word, because that all plays into the role of body autonomy, the ability to say stop, because it's extreme due to the power dynamics between adults and children. It is extremely difficult for children to actually be allowed to have the kind of control that tells adults, oh no, you're not allowed to okay, sorry, there was something that came through. All right. So a lot of the times it is so difficult for a child when the power dynamics of a person, an adult is usually in control. Now you have a child that is on a extremely difficult space, or in an extremely difficult situation, or even in a situation that can be abusive or is abusive. And let's be honest, child abuse, sexual child abuse, is a lot of it is successful due to various conversations that we need to have regarding that. But one of the other reasons it is successful is because kids don't feel like they have the power to say stop, to actually have control over their body, to be able to make decisions about their body. And we don't think about it that way. Because mom and dad always insist we do it in this way. Mom and dad always insist I put on my shoes and I have to do it, and if I don't do it, I'll be in trouble. If I need to clean my room, so mom and dad constantly has this power or this authority over my body, that when another adult that is in a position of power that I am either in a relationship with, remember, kids get groomed, families get groomed, whenever that position of power actually plays out, if we didn't play tickle and stop games, if we did not reacted when our children said stop, actually physically stopped, and showed them that we expect of them that when they have to stop, when we tell them stop, that they actually have to stop, we put them in a position where they cannot defend themselves, because they are not used to being allowed to tell an adult, this is where I draw the line, this is enough. Right. So I hope that makes sense. When we talk about clothing, hair, piercings, and circumcision, and it's usually such a difficult conversation to have, especially when we talk about circumcision. There's so many beliefs, there's so many views, there's so many perspectives on piercings and circumcision and clothing and hair. We need to understand, and I want to go back to what I've said before, kids are their own whole human being. They're not someone else, they're not my property. Yes, I talk about my children because, well, I brought them into this life, or at least I'm raising them. They're my kids. I've got responsibility. That my is the ownership of the responsibility that I have for the kids, but it's not the ownership of their bodies. And it is a clear distinction that we as parents need to make. It's an absolutely clear distinction that I'm my own separate human being and nobody owns me, not even my husband. I am nobody's property. My kids are not my property. They're my responsibility. They are part of who we are. They are part of my life, but I don't own them. I don't own their bodies. And that is an extremely important part of how we raise connected kids, how we raise conscious kids, and how we raise creative kids, is accepting that that little human being that I see every day, that I deal with every day, is not going to live life exactly the way that I imagined they would. They have their own dreams, they have their own destiny, they have their own attributes, and being able then to actually, if we let go, and that's one of the most freeing things that you can do, is letting go of that sense of, oh, I own my child. If you let go of that and just say, okay, but I'm responsible for my child, but my child owns themselves, it makes it so much easier to actually be in the moment and journey with your child and actually remain connected, and remain conscious, because they're not going to try and push down certain beliefs or certain ways of doing things and taking control away from our kids. We're supposed to teach them how to control their lives, their emotions, their regulation. We're supposed to teach and coach them through all of these things. We're not supposed to control them. The more we try to control our kids, the more pushback we will definitely get. So with clothing and hair, it is their hair. Often we see moms post on some of the parenting groups, oh no, look, I'm so angry, my child took the scissors and she cut her own hair, or he cut his own hair, they cut their own hair, it looks horrible, I'm so angry, how can they do that to themselves? It's their hair. Yes, will they look, I look fine for a couple of, it grows back. Yes, it's almost a rite of passage for a child to try and cut their own hair. In our own home, as connected and as aware as I am with my kids, the one day I turned my back for 2 minutes, quickly did something, and I heard the kids running up and down in the hallway and giggling. And as I walked out, it wasn't even my youngest cutting his own hair. It was the oldest. I'm so glad no one got hurt, because the oldest was chasing the youngest with scissors in the hands, and it's like trying to cut the youngest hair. So we had like these lumps of hair falling around on the floor, and youngest's hair is at the shoulders. And yes, I felt sad, and then I thought, okay, nobody got hurt. This is actually very funny. It looked a bit funny. We kind of styled it to let it go out and get it back to, all nice and those kind of things. But in the end of the day, it is their bodies, it's their choice. If he wants to look like a clown with the hair shaved here and the rest of the hair hanging and dangling, that's the choice they made. And I can hear you say, oh no, but now I need to be seen in public with this kid. Ask permission, say, I'm glad, I can see you really want to cut your hair. Can I help you just fix it a bit? How would you like it? What picture did you have in mind? Let's see if we can get it roundabout styled in the way that you in your head imagined. At the end of the day, it's their hair. the decision of some parents to cut kids' hair or to shave their hair off, or if the kid's allowed to cut their hair or shave their hair off, it's their hair. Can you imagine you being an adult and your boss or your mom walks in and says, okay, I don't like your long hair anymore, we're going to cut it today, and you're like, but I don't want to cut my hair, and it's like, I don't care, you will cut your hair because you are mine. We have these pictures of our kids in our heads on how we want them to look, who we want them to be, and then we start taking away their autonomy, because that is, we want to impose our idea. We want to take away their autonomy and identity and impose our control and ideas on them, and that is extremely damaging, and it hurts. That is, I'm sure that's one of the reasons very few of us can go to the shops and buy clothes and not ask someone to come with and say, okay, what do you think? How does this look? There's a certain sense that we don't trust our own ability to make decisions for ourselves and over our own bodies and our own looks and our own clothing and how we want to look. Yes, obviously you don't want to look bad in what you're wearing, but I've met people that has an extremely good sense of how they want to look, but they feel extremely self-aware when they wear the stuff that they want to wear. Not because they don't know how to wear those clothing, but because for so long, whenever they wanted to go that direction, their choice was taken away. Their autonomy, their agency was removed out of the situation. So let's get to the two extremely difficult topics: piercings and circumcision. And if you are new to this channel and you're new to me, I don't shy away from saying things. So I'm glad you're here. Hit that like button, subscribe if you've not subscribed to the channel yet. I would love to hear, comment down below. I would love to hear from you, and let's dive into piercings and circumcisions. When we talk about piercings, let's talk about piercings, not belly rings and all the beautiful jewelry that some people put onto themselves. I'm talking about getting earrings for your child. That is a permanent body modification, and a lot of parents make the decision to do the piercing when the baby is still young because there's some other belief that the child does not feel the pain. The child does feel the pain of that modification. It hurts. And the reasoning to put on the earrings is because they want the child to look like a specific gender. So they already have this picture of how that gender is supposed to look. It's visible in the clothing that gets chosen. Obviously, infant can't choose their own clothing, so that's not going to help much. But from the moment that they're old enough to look in the drawer for themselves, or at least see the clothing, let them pick the outfit they want to wear that day. But we're so set into, oh no, we need to put in earrings so that my child can look a specific gender, or can look like the female gender. And let's be honest, yes, if babies are dressed in gender neutral clothing, a lot of people are a bit baffled and a little bit confused at what's the age of the kid, or not age, what's the gender, or what gender they should call the kid. They and them is quite perfectly enough. It is language acceptable to refer to a baby as they and them until you get informed differently. You don't have to modify a child's body for the gender to be visible. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I know that there's a lot of people that's going to feel that I'm judging. I'm not judging. I'm telling you that if you do body modifications to your child so that they can fit into a specific gender stereotype that you would want to, you took a choice away from your child. I know about quite a lot of adult females that hates earrings, that doesn't like to wear earrings. They don't like the holes in their ears. Yes, it grows close, but it keeps a permanent mark. It's a permanent change to their body, and they didn't. But it's not as significant as circumcision. Now, I'm talking about circumcision not from a religious perspective. I know there are people that do get their boys circumcised due to their religious views. I cannot pass judgment on that. I don't have an opinion on the religious views, but I do have an opinion on circumcision. There are certain fallacies when it comes, fallacies and phallic symbols. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I'll get back. No, I haven't, Carla. I haven't talked about the piercings under anesthesia. I think I unless the kid chooses to have piercings, before we dive into the circumcision conversation, let's have a very, very blatant conversation about the piercings. Unless the kid chose to have the piercings done, I don't think it's fair to modify their body. And can you imagine? All right, so you go to the doctor and you need to get let's say for instance your wisdom teeth removed, up in the face, and you're an adult and your mom or your husband or your wife decides, what will look really cool when they come out of theater? The chipmunk look with a new set of studs. Will you be happy? Will you feel like something has been removed from you? I believe you will feel like something has been removed from you. Your choice has been taken away. Your decision of whether you want to wear something or do something to your body has been taken away. Some girls, when they're much older, decide, like when they're 7, 8, 9, or 10, decide, what, I really would like to have some earrings. And that's fine. Then go do it. They asked for it. But this sneak attack of doing it under anesthesia, so they don't have the pain anymore, but they wake up looking weird. Now they've got 2 things to nurse. It doesn't make sense to do that to a child. Taking away any person's agency or choice is not right. It really does not sit well with me. You may have a difference of opinion, so let me know if you don't agree with my stance. Let me know. Educate me if you disagree. I'm really open on this to get more information. But currently, as things stand, taking away someone's choice is overruling their ability to say stop or no, and that's taking away their body autonomy and their agency. So let's get into the difficult one called circumcision. Second time that we tried to talk about circumcision. Now, like I said, disclaimer, I am not going to talk about religious circumcision. I am a Christian, and I do understand that Christians do certain things that is part of our faith and our tradition that can be viewed, construed by other people as harmful. And if they're not part of my religion, them they're welcome to have an opinion, but unless they have lived it or living it, it's very difficult to have those conversations. The same with people who circumcise for the religious perspectives and views. I am aware Jewish people, Jews, do circumcise their young boys. I cannot make a statement regarding that because I am not part of that religion, and I cannot condemn the religion, right? So please understand that this is now like getting completely awkward. Anyway, all right. So why is circumcision such a big thing? I'm going to flip because I'm acutely aware that I have quite a number of female viewers, people who identify as female. It is horrible when we read up in Upper Africa and in I think it's Iran, they still do it, and a few other countries, where they do female circumcision, where they cut away a piece of the clit, taking away the sexual pleasure. And we're up in arms, and we're like, oh, but this is horrible, and it's abuse of women, and everybody can agree, circumcising a woman is wrong. But for some other reason, we're fine with circumcising men. Little boys without a choice. And I'm not talking about circumcising them for medical reasons, because there is actual real medical reasons that a boy might have to be circumcised. And then I'm not even going to get into the religious one. What really gets bothersome is the one that is, once again, for gender identification or identity. There's a view and a perspective that when we talk about circumcision and about parents that make the choice to circumcise their boys, that part of the decision making, and I've seen parents react that way, well, the kid's penis needs to look like daddy's penis, otherwise it's just going to be weird. No, it doesn't. The amount of things that gets cut away during a circumcision, from pleasure zones to it's almost a third of the penis that gets cut away when someone has a circumcision. It's a permanent body alteration. And there's actually quite a lot of men out there who has been circumcised as kids that today is fighting against circumcision by choice. They are fighting against a removal of a body part or part of a body part. And because it's a violation of their bodies, it's the same level of violation as female circumcision. But for some other reason, circumcision is still acceptable in society. If we as parents make a decision to get our boys circumcised because, well, as a female that enjoys sex with men, I don't really like, or I've never had sex with a man that's not circumcised, so it's better to have my boy circumcised. That doesn't make sense. And I'm sorry, I know I'm probably making people feel extremely uncomfortable and angry at what I'm saying, but it doesn't make sense to make that choice that you want to circumcise your son, you want to remove a third of his penis because of how you think about penises and sex. Circumcision and piercings and all of that is not a decision that needs to be taken lightly. It should not be a decision taken upon sexual preference or preference of the parents. That is sexualization of our kids, but it's not fair. Yes, we live in a country where we have teen circumcision traditional rituals. That is their choice. Those teenagers, or sort of their choice, because there's other social cultural issues that strips some of those boys from their choice. The whole thing that manhood lies, or a good man, or a man that will satisfy a woman, lies in the fact that they remove a third of his penis. It's quite ridiculous. And it really makes me sad that we're still not fighting as hard for the right for men to keep an intact penis and for our boys to keep an intact penis, as what's been fighting to have women keep an intact clitoris. It breaks my heart. So yes, medical reasons, sure, but if it really is a choice for you whether you want to circumcise your boy, and it's not, an uncircumcised penis is not less clean than a circumcised penis. That is one of the biggest fallacies that was shared and told across the board. Yes, when he's an adult and he decides to have a circumcision because it lowers the transmission rate of HIV or certain things, sure, then it is his choice. He has agency. It is his body. It is his choice. We need to stop making gender identification decisions for our children before they even have a voice, and we're taking away their agency. And that is, I can go on for hours regarding that. All right, family and friends. So how does all of this, giving them choices, the stop and tickle games, the giving them permission, to hug or to touch or to even just asking permission, how does this all play when we get into a situation with family and friends? Well, thanks to COVID, a few traditions is being broken down. For instance, we're not allowed to touch, not allowed to hug. Not a lot of people like hugs. I'm a hugger. I'm someone that loves hugs. I used to be an obtuse hugger. I would, if someone tells me I don't like hugging or I don't like touching, I would in generally have gone out of my way to hug that person, because I was never told or taught that you're allowed to refuse a hug or a kiss when you say hello to someone. Because when I was a child and didn't like a person or an aunt or a family member or a friend of my folks, I didn't have a choice in saying hello or kissing hello or hugging them. You always had to do what the adult expected of you to do. And it created that idea in my head that every single person, I do believe every single person deserves hugs, but they deserve the opportunity to choose who and when and how they want to hug someone. The same for our kids. They need to have that choice. And that is where this whole my body, my rules comes into play. I see the slideshow has stopped running, so I'm going to see if I can restart that. See if I can get that going again for the viewers that is busy watching. All right. So for family and friends, how does this play out? In the initial stages, especially when they're infants and up to the age of 2 or 3 or 4, it is normal for 5, 6, 7, right, up to the age of 7. It is actually quite normal for a child to prefer not to greet adults when they enter in a room, or and when I mean by greet adults, I don't mean about not acknowledging them. I'm talking about the social expectations of how a person's supposed to greet another person. And what we are talking about is that expectation that the kid will kiss the person hello, or that the kid has to come and shake his hand, or that they have to give a person a hug, or that they, so while a child is still under the age of 7, it is ideal, if you want to really bring home to your family and friends the whole body autonomy concept of how you want your child to live, that their body is their choice and their rules, is to allow them to wave hello, to say hi, or to just verbally say hello. That is, they don't need to touch anybody. Nobody needs to touch them. If that person really craves a hug that much, that adult can turn around to another adult and ask, who feels like having a hug? I need a hug. And the adults can hug each other. It is not a child's responsibility to make an adult feel loved. Yes, we have a social responsibility to acknowledge that someone has entered the room, that someone has entered the conversation, that someone is part of the conversation. We have the social rules that if someone comes to visit the home, to at least, leave your room, walk to where that person is and just at least say hello. And when they leave, to at least say goodbye, to at least acknowledge that person's existence, that person taking space in whatever space you're occupying. But there's no need for a child to ever, if they don't want to hug, kiss, high five, touch another person or an adult, if they don't want to. We weren't raised that way, so brace yourself. There's going to be people that's going to be upset. They're going to get into a huff and a puff and want to blow your whole house down. That's okay. They can get angry. They can feel upset. You can then tell them, well, it's my child's body, it's their rules, they get to choose. And here's why this is so powerful. When we teach a child that they can choose, or they have a say when someone touches them, or if someone is allowed to touch them, if they get into a situation where they are a possible victim, they know that that person did wrong and they don't feel guilty or feel less guilt about what's going on, and it's actually easier for them to then report the person, or to shout, or to not go along with that shh, we don't tell anybody. It makes it also much more difficult for predators to groom the kids and the family, because kids have an incredibly deep, innate sense, spidey sense of who they can trust and who they can't trust. It helps them also to keep their body safe. We usually talk about body autonomy, and then people say, okay, yeah, so it's about the privates. Nobody touch my privates. Nobody touch my genital area. Yeah, great. That is part of it. But the biggest part of it is having the freedom to decide what to do with my body. I've earlier had the question, so we have the freedom with the clothing, we have the freedom with everything, but now to convince my kid that they have to wear clothing when we go out in public, or at least appropriate clothing that covers at least most of their body parts. Sure, and I agree, we need to do that. We do need to have some rules or some stipulations on, you can wear whatever you want to within your closet, and this, if you want to wear everything at one time, go for it. But at least certain things needs to be covered, not because you have anything to be ashamed of. The reality is just nobody really likes to look at other people's privates. So better cover up so that nobody can look at your privates, because it really makes people uncomfortable. And our social contract to be able to move in society is to try and accommodate as many people as possible without going out of our way to make them feel uncomfortable, to purposefully make them feel uncomfortable. So what we do is we actually have the conversation. Listen, my kids do the naked man almost every, okay, now in the winter they're finally fully dressed, but they used to do the naked man constantly and consistently, and that's normal. It's a certain phase. When we go out, the rule is you need to put on clothing that covers your privates, that is suitable to go out in public with, so that other people don't have to feel uncomfortable when they see you. And it works. Do we measure their clothing? No. Do we tell them how long or short it should be? No. Obviously, I'm raising boys, which means there's less pressure from society on their dress code. But I also have conversations with them about that clothing doesn't matter how you're dressed. It doesn't mean that you're inviting certain things, because they need to understand that concept. They need to understand that clothing doesn't take away a person's agency, a person's body autonomy. It doesn't do that. Another thing that popped up, a question that I had, was when we give our children medicine, how do we do that? How do we administer medicine? How do we still respect their body autonomy? Regarding medical situations, body autonomy plays a role, but we move to choices. So we give them choices but they don't have a choice not to take the medicine. But they do have a bit of a choice on when or how they take it. My kids prefer still using the syringes if it's a liquid. Eldest keeps on asking, "Ooh, when will this medicine be a tablet form?" because he hates the tastes of medicine. We don't use bribery, but what we do is we do reward, but it's literally jelly baby after really yucky tasting medicine to get the taste out of their mouth. And if you have ever tasted any of the children's medicine, like antibiotics and cough medicine, all of it tastes vile. So giving, like saying, okay, quickly drink this. I know it tastes horrible, but quickly drink it so that you can have this jelly baby, so you can take the taste out of your mouth, works. If a child still refuses after being offered the choice of whether they want to hold the syringe themselves and drink the medicine themselves, or how they want to drink it, when they want to drink it, and with something that takes the taste away, unfortunately you're going to have to restrain your child, because when it comes to taking medicine, life-saving actions, that is when the priority to save their life does overrule the ability or the need to be able to make a choice for themselves. So try to incorporate in situations like that, with diaper change, with medicine, situations where the kid is really pushing back and saying, no, I'm not going to do it, and it's something that they really have to do because it's life or death, or that could possibly harm them if they continue in the way that they do, then we unfortunately have to step in, we have to restrain, we have to take the necessary steps. But always first try giving choices where the end result, doesn't matter what they choose, the end result will still get them to take the medicine, or get them to take the diaper off, or so that they don't get nappy rash, to get them to back away from the ledge where they, from the slightest thing, can fall down and get really badly hurt, to be able to take the knife away. There are ways that we can manage those situations without necessarily stripping them of their autonomy and their ability to do things. Thank you for bearing with all the technical problems we've had. I think that's where we're going to end tonight. Any questions? Anybody that has any questions, please type them down below in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell so that you can know when we upload new videos or when we do another live feed. Remember, the hoodies and the t-shirts, the beautiful hoodies and the t-shirts is available. The website's up. It is available. I'm super excited. Place your order. It's on a great special now for the weekend. And the final pre-orders closes at the end of the month, so you got until the 27th to order these hoodies or these t-shirts, and I will see you. Okay, so that is how we're going to end tonight. On that note, remember to order your hoodies and t-shirts. I look forward to our next live feed. I will update you on what the topic will be. If you have anything else to add, feel free to comment down below. If you're watching this when all of this is done, when it's re-uploaded, welcome. Please comment down below. I will get back to the questions that you have. And have an absolutely beautiful evening. And I'll see you guys again. Thank you. Cheers.